I'm joined by Agnes Land, who's the Director of Business Development for Change Connect. And you're going to talk to us a little bit about building your SaaS sales playbook, right?
Fantastic. Yeah.
Amazing.
Let's get to it.
Awesome. So described as influential and inspirational by her clients and peers, Agnes Land helps organizations grow through change. She has a knack of breaking down complex strategies into tangible business tactics, and this makes her very effective as a business leader and change agent, leading the way in sales transformation for SMBs and enterprises alike. Agnes has considerable experience on the assessment, strategy, design, and implementation of business transformations in various industries with a focus on sales. Agnes has consulted for business clients in broadcast and media, advertising and marketing, distribution and warehouse, education, manufacturing, professional services, and construction. So basically all industries. Amazing. Well, thank you for being here. We really appreciate your time. And I'll leave you to it, and I'll be back towards the end.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, Agnes.
Hey, how's everyone doing today? I'm trying something new in today's presentation. I normally do my presentation sitting down, and today I decided I'm gonna 2021 give it a go and see if we can get more energy in the room by standing up. So today's conversation is about building your SaaS sales playbook. We're taking all the questions at the end because I'm standing up and I can't get to the computer, but definitely we'll take some questions at the end, okay? So you thought you came here to hear me talk about building a SaaS playbook, but I decided I'm going to tell you a little bit about being a hockey mom and the things I have learned from that. First and foremost, if any one of you have hockey kids, you know equipment sticks. That's the first thing I learned when I walked into this whole hockey mom thing. I'm like, I can't believe how much room it takes up in the hallway to air these things out. Number two, second thing I learned is hockey is much more than scoring. You know, and in the beginning, in the first year or so, you as a new hockey man, I don't know about you, but I have never played rep anything when I was a kid. So I'm not used to the idea of, I don't understand how it all works. And, when your kid is pulled back and say, hey, you know what, you should be a defense guy. You're better at that. And I'm like, how come he can't be the kid that scores? Isn't that more important? Through the years, I realized it's not. It's a teamwork thing. And there's much more to hockey than scoring. The third thing I learned is that, you know what? Turnover is painful. Any one of you in rep hockey with kids in rep hockey knows year over year, there's turnover. And with the turnover comes new teammates, come new coaches. And how that can be painful, both emotionally and detrimental to the team's play by the end of the year when you start to get a rhythm going or you're playing with a new team already. And last but not least, routine creates predictability. The guys, when the coach are tougher, I mean, we've had a few coaches through the years. When the coaches are tougher, you see that the kids take it more seriously. You see that, the routines are not getting dropped. You know that the kids expect certain things and the coach expects certain things, and the communication is there to drive predictability and win. So let me tell you a little bit about me, aside from the fact that I'm a hockey mom. So entrepreneur, we've been actually just telling Rich, I've been in Change Connect for 10 years, head of sales, really trying to take small, medium-sized enterprise to the next level by making things scalable for them in their sales force. Obviously, I'm on LinkedIn. Feel free to add me on LinkedIn today. That would be fantastic, and then we can connect there. Now, forget about hockey mom for just 1 second. That's a full-time job on its own. But being a sales leader, what I have learned that hockey equipment still thinks. That's, I have to live with that every day. Maybe not so much lately, but definitely have to live with that. There's much more to it than just closing in sales. If you look at the whole sales pipeline and how it is really created and how much we have to go through, closing is really just the last 20% of the battle. What happens to the first 80% matters a lot in how many we actually get to closing. So when we talk about sales, when we talk about sales cadences, process, collaterals, we're really talking about the whole full sales pipeline to ensure that we maximize on the closing ratio and also open up the pipe. And how do you do that? Turnover and sales are painful too. You know what? Especially in fast-paced sales environment, sales is actually has statistically have one of the highest turnover in any job role. And how do you minimize that in an organization, minimize the pain in that in any organization in terms of putting a process in place and having the onboarding process, go from months to weeks. And last but not least, routine create predictability. Same idea if, the idea of you putting another million, 2 million, $3 million in a pipe is by hiring another sales guy. Well, you can't let him run wild. So what does that look like, and what does that routine look like, and really being disciplined and sticking to your routine? Today's conversation, though, is really about building up the sales playbook. And my vision of the sales playbook isn't just so much that, the 1, 2, 3s of sales playbook, but it really is about, number one, having the cadence, right? Having the step-by-steps in allowing to do so. But more than that, really it builds your sales culture within your organization. And what do you want your sales culture to be? And that will be reflected as part of your sales playbook. Are your sales guys rowing in the same direction, right? Are they singing from the same song sheets? Right? Can my demo guys talk to my sales engineers, which can talk to my account manager and closing, and then pass the project onto the operations team? Is that smooth? Is that seamless? Right? The idea of using bots, if your process is not systematized, how can you actually start to use bots to create automation and efficiency? And the idea of having new ideas, right? The world of sales is fast paced, and especially in the last year, if you're still using the same playbook as pre-COVID, I think we all know that doesn't work. So what is it that we have to do in order for you to be able to roll with the punches, but also grow within the situation, and to reset? And how do you reset, and how do we generate new ideas? Is actually through having a very regimented routine, and then you'll be able to assess whether the new idea is any good, rather than throwing spaghetti on the wall and see which sticks, right? A few of you probably have sales playbook, and every sales playbook, as we walk into any organization, as Change Connect go in and we build sales playbook for others, every sales playbook is slightly different. But here I'm going to give you a few big categories for you to consider. So for those who don't know what a sales playbook is really just a go-to resource for salespeople to understand their role, understand their tactic, understand what the best practices are, and really go there to understand the buyer's journey and increase the likelihood of you reaching the win rate, and really monetizing on what a system should look like and driving predictability in your sales pipeline. Some of the common sections that we put in the sales playbook include, company overview. What does your product and sales look like? I was just talking to, even internally, we have actually expanded on our product line, and I found that some of our consultants actually don't know that we have expanded. Right? And we do this for a living, so it's very easy for you to expand product line without the company understanding where it's going and where possibly the opportunity might be. Understanding the role, responsibility, and measure of success, right? Every role in sales is slightly different. The responsibility is slightly different. The handoff point, the measure of success is slightly different. Do they understand? Right? I mean, it's hard. We all know, especially in today's world, we know it's hard to jump from job to job to job to job to job, to role to role to role. We try to fit, I guess, ourselves best and roll with the punches of today. But at the same time, understanding what are we talked a lot about chaotic culture. The chaos generally drive from the fact that they don't know what they're measuring up to, right? Same idea as your sales guys. Sales buyers persona is important. Who am I selling to? Who am I going to be most effective selling to? Right? Breaking that down. What kind of language are they talking? What are they like? What are what is their buyer's journey? What are the considerations? In what role? How am I going to be effective in my conversation with them? Also, obviously, building out the playbook KPI and goals. What does those look like? And what are the incremental goals? What are my means to the end? Sales process itself, are we doing discovery before demo? What are our discovery processes? What are our demo process? How are they interchangeable? Sometimes my rep would go and make a warm call, and they would combine the warm call with the discovery call. Is that best practice? Can it be a best practice within an organization if that is reality of what happened? Do I have to break things out? Really understanding the different scenarios at play that leads to selective plays. You are going to be more effective in certain area than others. There's going to be certain protocols that are more efficient. So what does those play look like? Last but not least, your sales resources. Sometimes when we walk into different organizations, we even work with them on what the choose your own adventure demo deck look like, right? Really guiding them through that, and or even down to sequences, right? Sequence of email during nurture, sequence of email during cold call, sequence of emails for cold call, warm call, nurture. What does that all look like? And how can we standardize that so that salespeople are not going in there and typing out each email? Those days are long gone, guys. There are better alternatives. And on top of that, actually, emails and sequences can be scheduled now so that I'm not at the mercy of a sales rep to remember to send a second email in that sequence, right? You can go in there and you can utilize automation tools that allows it to be more efficient. And instead of warming 40 leads in your pipe, now with all the automation tools, you can probably warm closer to 80, 90 leads in your pipe per salesperson. What is it? Wouldn't that be actually most efficient? Let's get started. And there's, Agnes, you sold me. How am I going to get a sales playbook together? Give you some tips. So number one is leverage existing content. I bet you already have some, right? If you're selling, you probably already have sales content. How can we leverage that? Number two, remember, a sales playbook is a living document. So you want to make it user friendly such that people want to use it. When people come to your sales, when you come to your sales playbook, they cannot be flipping from folder to folder, trying to get to what is it that they want. There's gotta be a user friendly way in setting up your playbook. Number three, cloud. Gotta be easy access. If they can't access, they can't use it, right? Further, if you're talking about continuous improvement, not only are we tracking access, we're also tracking usage, right? If there's a way to track you, there are a few sales playbook technology out there right now. If you go and chat after this, we can certainly talk about it. And people, and then you can track their usage. It coming out sales playbook, and even perhaps some sales playbook technology allows a rep to copy and then be able to make their own sales playbook that work for them. Imagine creating another A rep, right? Consistency in creating A reps is going to be important. Make it a team building opportunity, right? Don't hide in the back and just get some of the junior guys or get your admin to put a sales playbook together. Make it a team building event. Make it a team building opportunity where all reps participates. After that, we want to make sure we reference the sales playbook during the meeting. We know if we don't reference our CRM numbers during meetings and dashboard numbers during, no one would use your CRM. Same idea. If we don't reference our playbook plays, and during sales meeting, there is a lack, a gap in terms of knowledge there. Last but not least, what I mentioned earlier, really try to tweak the heck out of it in the early days. Actually, because it's a living document, not only are you tweaking in the early days, you're also tweaking as we go, because sales is running, the whole idea of sales pipeline, sales process right now is running a mile a minute. You really should be making it like a living document. Let me check on time to make sure I have enough time. Great. So just a few scenario for you to understand in terms of what you can do with it. Like we were helping a SaaS startup actually, last year, and that particular SaaS startup went from having no sales playbook to having a sales playbook, and the results are what I just wrote here, right? They went from 30 outbound call per week to 100 outbound call per week per rep. That's still low. I think we could have pushed it up to probably 150, 200 outbound calls. But anyways, that was where they were after about 12 weeks. In terms of problem solving, it was very feature centric when they first started selling. As we built the sales playbook together as a team, now every conversation is around problem solving. getting to identify the problem and solving the problem with our technology, or with maybe it's with someone else and making an introduction to something else, right? Business always come back if you are able to solve someone else's problem. Last but not least, when in a SaaS startup environment, you're always onboarding. You feel like you're always onboarding sales rep. We were able to significantly shrink the onboarding time from 9 months to 6 weeks, really closing the gap on the A players and the C players, and having a repeatable, scalable process to make planning for early planning this, the startup journey in the startup much easier. As we all know, startup can be a little chaotic, and we were actually able to minimize the turnover, the risk in turnovers. But that's just not for startups. Playbook isn't just for startups. We don't know, on the other side end of the spectrum, we're working with an engineering consulting firm where 80-90% of the business come from existing customer. Why do they need a sales playbook? Well, we were able to leverage the sales playbook to shift a very operations culture into us, to infuse, I wouldn't say a sales culture, but infuse a little sales into that culture. We also have started getting them to us, the project managers and the client facing staff, to think about being proactive instead of reactive in their sales cadences. And as well, utilization rate went up. If anyone knows billable hours, utilization went up because now we have more predictability into what project is actually coming down the pipe, through building rapport with our clients and really, having better win ratio at the end of the day. So we're empowering the client-facing staff to be a part of the solution and infusing the culture with relationship-based selling. And team, for the first time, was able to forecast. They now understand. Before we try to ask these project managers, can you forecast the numbers of what you did? They throw their hands up, right? But now they're able to forecast as to what projects might be coming down the pipe. Last but not least, the hockey team. The kids play from the same playbook. My son is still he's still a defenseman, and a proud one. There's clear expectation and communication of what to expect, and focusing on the means to the end. The team have a plan to play, to deal with the year over year. The kid have fantastic year learning the fundamentals of hockey, and most of all, the kids have fun. And now I'm ready to take any questions. I will be leaving my email on the chat box so you guys can grab it, or you can find me on LinkedIn. The other thing is, we actually have a white paper that speaks to how to build up your sales playbook step by step. If you would like that, if you can leave your email and your name in the chat box, I'll be sure to make sure that you get a copy of that white paper. Thank you for joining me today. Any questions? Let me see. Stop sharing. Great. Sabrina, you got it. All right. My 20 minutes up. If you can leave your information here, I'll be sure to follow up with you, and add me on LinkedIn. I will see you guys soon. Bye-bye.